How's it going? And looking for a specific audience. I'm just starting to think that I'm going to develop something maybe kind of genuine, a little unique for a audience. So I'm looking for people to look for to prefer me as a host. So looking forward to that in the future. People subscribing or however they have to do in order to get my news. But we're going to try to keep everybody updated with the news. We'll go through the news. You can watch it through our video. We'll screen share so then you can go back and do your own research or whatever in your own time, but it gets people caught up, I'm hoping, is what I'm focusing on right now. So it is what it is. I like making music. I've been doing freestyle rap music for about, I'd say probably since about 1999, maybe somewhere around there. I have my comb. But I made this song recently, and it's and it's stuck in my head, and I'm not like displeased over it because it's actually kind of a good song. It's called It Is What It Is. It is what it is, and it is what it is. It's stuck in my head, and it's a good song. But boy, don't don't we have to make people look stupid whenever they open their mouths up and they say something wrong. And sometimes people say some direly ignoramus things. I'm not. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not saying I'm the brightest bulb in the bunch. So I know that at times I can be caught off guard and also be made fun of. So I'm not trying to pull like a Eminem 8 Mile, repping like say. So why don't you go ahead and say some more about me? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to keep everything correct and myself in check. So excuse me. Sorry, I had to drink that. It was only a couple drink swallowers left, and I had to do what I had to do. So when good gets revenge, it has flavor. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm going to look at our news comments from a Fox News host yesterday. We're gonna get into PETA. PETA, I guess, um, made a statement yesterday to go and get somebody killed. PETA wants somebody dead, or somebody actually was in the news. So we'll look at that in a second. Outnumbered host argues in God We Trust. Okay, let's see if I can. I can't replay it, so I don't know what Napolitano told this woman, but this is what this woman said. Um, in 11 years, I have never got as visceral a reaction. Okay, visceral, visceral. Oops, let's see, visceral. The their deep inward feeling rather than to the intellect. Rather feeling than to the intellect. Okay. All right, dum dum. Julie Ragonsky. Now, if you're gonna be smart, you're gonna come on here and you're gonna make a stupid question, and then I make you look like a big dumb egghead, and I'm like, why is this person even still a Fox host? Kick her off and make her go to some other program. Make her go to MSN or CNN or somewhere else. But separate yourself, Fox, from this idiot here. I only have one point to make on this. My one point I will make on the In God We Trust, the Ten Commandments. I have several points. not just one on why it should stay there, but I have one in particular, the main one. Why didn't the forefathers add all that bullshit that everybody else thinks they have a legal right to add to the Ten Commandments if it's evil or not, right? You can't add a pagan statue at our courthouse and say this represents Paganhead being a complete swine as far as it comes to an ass. You'd be a complete jackass when it comes to the government and rules. Instead of helping change rules, laws for the better for everybody, you want to just say, "Oh, screw your laws. That's how we're gonna approach the government." You know what I mean? Instead of actually making sense. But my point is, why did the forefathers put in God we trust on everything? Now before I say go do something stupid, let's say, where did the fathers put in we trust on? I'm looking it up. In God we trust. In God we trust. Did this common phrase originate? Motto in God we trust was placed in the United States coins largely because of, as would say, God we trust. God we trust did not become the official national motto. The the founding fathers rejected numerous attempts to putting. Oh, is that right? That's what somebody's trying to say. But I know they had to have had brought it up somewhere before. Okay, all about. I don't see an author on this. It just says history all about. It's at www.allaboutThisStory.org. That was one word, right? Like you do on your search engine /n spacebar trust.htm is where we're looking at this article right here. It says, "In God We Trust," the motto of the first found references of the motto "God We Trust" occurred in the U.S. national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. The song was written by Francis Scott Key in 1814 and later adopted as the national anthem. In the last stanza, what does that say? Stanza, Key writes a variation of the phrase. Okay, so we can we can take "In God We Trust" out. Moving on. So we'll go to the when was the Ten Commandments not made? I can't believe somebody would act like they have a answer for all these different time phrases, and or even put it in my Bible, because I don't know that you're telling the truth either on that one with those time frames that you suggest. Okay, when was the Ten Commandments added to American courthouses? Ten Commandments controversy. The government posting the Ten Commandments files in the face of the community should consider its consequences for one of America's most. CNN.com. That first one was out of archive. Only 1 in 5 Americans approve of the federal court order under workers remove the Ten Commandment mounted. I just want to know when was Ten Commandments put in lawsuit at American courthouses. Commanders controversy. I keep coming up with this, so I'll look in there at archive.adl.org/10com 2m's on the com /print.hotmail. That's what I'm looking at. The Anti-Defamation League believes that the increasing call by private citizens and public officials for the government to post the Ten Commandments in school, government buildings, courts, and other public area places, while often well-intentioned, is bad policy and often unconstitutional. Okay, how about this one? So I'm going to go back to, though they said that on the other issue that we looked at, they said that, somebody said that our forefathers argued. Did you hear that? Did you catch that? Argued over In God We Trust. Right? Well, so we'll research that on our own time. Now, the thing is how we feel is if the forefathers really seriously didn't want it on there, I'm not worried about it being on there or being taken away from there. It's not going to offend me. Just know that I don't want it replaced with something pagan or sacrilegious. So a lot of people maybe think that they won't. I don't know. It's just it's a controversy that gets a lot of attention. In God we trust. So we want to look at when did they bring that in there, because the reason why I had to go back is because what I know is the forefathers would pray. They're the ones that started prayer in the government assemblies when they assembled together. So they would pray before and they would pray right after. They would adjourn their meetings in Congress. It's a fact. So go look at that. You want to say that they were against In God We Trust? Well, I know for a fact from what I learned. Now they might want to go and change all the search engines real quick and mold it and fit to their liberal baloney to throw everybody off, because now they have all of our questions and all of our answers and all of our knowledge that they can turn around, right? It's a fact. Let's look it up real quick. So we'll go back and we'll look at In God We Trust, but we're going to look at real quick, did the fathers pray in public prayer and founding fathers. American Civil Liberties Union nearly threatened the council with a lawsuit for uttering the Lord's Prayer at its meeting. Oh, really? Those people should have their funds cut from them. They should have their funds cut because they're going to charge a lawsuit with public funds, because all of these pukes, all these different foundations and places and everywhere, they've all been funded by the government and by something else. They didn't just come up with, some money like they say about evolution. Some fart just, wow, everything exists now from a fart. Oh my gosh. It's civil liberties. It's civil liberties, not God. You can't put God in it. You have to put a fart in it, because that's where we come from, is a fart. So fart of gas, and then we put In Fart We Trust on every cruiser in the world, Okay, so founders' view of prayer should prevail at Supreme Court. Public prayer at legislative meetings, and people. I said people have been thrown in jail for praying in Washington D.C. at the various monuments, American monuments. They were praying at like the Lincoln Monument, the not where he was buried, but his big old statue, I believe. They were praying there and they all got arrested. And it was really ridiculous too because they were exercising their freedom. So it's kind of like pointing out, hello, we don't have the right freedom to pray to God anymore. So how far are you going to extend that from the Capitol? If you do that in the Capitol, I'll go there, and you know what? You'll have somebody dead right on the spot because I will punch somebody out, and I won't stop fighting until until somebody dies over me being able to pray, or exercise my right to speech and say what I believe and what I think. So I just think I don't know what people are worried about. In God we trust. So they they prayed they prayed in school. Not in school. Well, that's what they're trying to say. Like you can't pray in school, but I'm saying the forefathers didn't intend people not to be like able to pray over their meal or do different things like that, because they were praying, exercising prayer to God in in the Capitol. Public prayer at legislative meetings, an undeniable, touchy topic, will take center stage at the U.S. Supreme Court on November 6th. So, see, here's my argument. If the forefathers bought into it, that's what this country is fundamentally meant to represent and be, is what those architects of government, had created from John Locke. Go research John Locke and read John Locke's philosophies, and then you'll understand a lot of what our forefathers were like. So if they seriously, and it's the truth, and it's not some lie, and we can prove that it's credible, that the forefathers did not want "In God We Trust" on the money or on anything else, then they had a reason, and then the lady is right. But if they didn't, and they put "In God We Trust" somewhere else, and they didn't say that, it's been on the dollar and on other things since 1840 something. Isn't that what it said? The 1840s or something. So it's been in place for a really long time. So we'll do our own investigating on that. I didn't want to hear any of their opinions because I already had my own opinion, and I didn't know if I could even trust Judge Napolitano's opinion on it at this point, because I'm not too confident in American law and American justice. Even worse, and you could say even more so, but I'm going to say it this way: even worse. I can't trust them even worse than I ever did before in my entire life. The justice system, law, the government, everybody. People who shake you up and screw you around and bend you over, them guys, I can't trust them. Even worse than ever before. In our forefathers, it's a fact. They prayed in Congress, so that right there is a direct violation to people's constitutional rights if they want to gather together and have a religious church function in their school, not something else. You couldn't come out and say it's pagan or anything else, because that's not what the forefathers meant. They meant directly when they were praying in Congress and anywhere else. They meant that people had the right to freely pray. I would say pray over what? Pray of what? Are you going to, if somebody comes up and they all, you know, they're praying in your face or something. I mean, are they praying at you? I mean, like, gonna knock you over with prayer, you know what I mean? Their prayer is so horrible. Like, somebody shoot him. Somebody shoot him. Somebody shoot him now. Take him out back. Make sure that whatever you do, don't let the cops see it. Whatever you do, take him back. Take him back. We're praying. We're praying to God. Unless he prays to some pagan beast that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Take him out back. Punish him. So, moving on. Peter. I don't know. Take I can find that story again because it was in a report that I had already pulled up, and I think that I discarded it. So I'm going to go try and retrieve it again in my trash, so I don't have to. I got bombarded with emails this morning that they're cool, but they're not. Here it is. It's no, that's not it. That's a fundraiser. I'm trying to come up with campaign money right now, so they're kind of gonna be going after you for campaign contributions right now. Did you hear about somebody wrote yesterday that they thought Obama wanted to go do a third term? I made a kind of a derogatory video the other day about him. Like it was pretty bad. But somebody applauded me for it, so and I don't blame them for doing that either, because the guy's a jackass. So what I told these people on FixThisNation.com, they said President Obama confident about a third term. I just said to them, I left a comment and I said that, well, somebody put the idea in my mind, made me think that he meant go to Kenya and run for presidency there, since he has a birth certificate from the place, from Kenya. So he could easily go from here to there. And the joke continues. And the joke will really continue. But then you could go after him if you did that. They were saying that they think Obama's confident about running for a third term here. That would really make me where I'm ashamed and I'm in disbelief and I am utterly just bummed out by the way that people act here, and because they're like what Rush Limbaugh was saying. I was listening to him the other day. He was talking about the lion, this great lion in Africa or something gets killed, and all these liberals line up to want to kill the guy who killed it, right? But yet everything that they're pushing with their president, with their liberal President Obama, abortion, overtaxing people, making people slaves to the government. I mean, it just makes me wonder. Yeah, they have to break down somewhere at some point and give in to their humanity, their human side, because it's human nature to show a villain. If unless you have a good control on that, people do. And then you have a human side. Always, it's gonna be like, but some people are hardened to the point where they have no human side and they can't come down from being angry, I'm really angry. So I feel that at times, but I know that it's not it's not gonna carry me away and take me away anymore when I'm thinking of You know, I'm having those days where I'm just utterly just ripped, kind of ripped apart, kind of just so frustrated with everything. I don't even know where to begin. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell somebody about it, but I have no way to communicate because I'm so angry. You know what I mean? So all I can say is that I cannot let that anymore carry me away and take off with me anymore. It's not an issue. So at least thank God for that. At least that much. I still feel the anger, but like I said, I don't get too carried away with it no more these days. Maybe it's maturity in my age now. Um, so uh, I'm not going to be able to find that. So I'm gonna look it up. Oh, I got an idea. I'll look at my history. Obama confident in the third term. Founders prayer should prevail at Supreme Court. Just remember that I said that the forefathers were praying in open forums of Congress, and they still do it to this day. It's been a tradition all the way back to the founding of the country. Just remember that. The next time that you want to kick some kid out of school for praying there to Jesus, or take him to jail, or suspend him, or all these other harmful, the human evil thing from the courts, because you know how they are. They serve everybody's ass to them when they go to court. If we screw up, you go to court. The court's not there to say, "What do you think that we should do to you? What do you think the court should do to you?" The courts are there to have you go to them for what you did. The judge looks at what he needs to by law deal with that. So the next time that you want to come after somebody over them praying in public or in school or any of these places, that's not the separation. They mean separate your government we're in from taking anybody to jail over their religion for any circumstance. That's what that means. Separation of church and state. And they're not really going to be able to argue the separation of church and state in God we trust, because that's not in God we trust. We trust in God. But the separation of church and state also is installed the way Christian nature is supposed to be. It's supposed to be free people. So we're free thinkers. So if somebody wants to slip away from our Christian thinking and have their own thoughts, feel free. I'm not going to. I'm going to stay somewhat traditional, not to the point where I'm too caught up in medieval over it, but I'm definitely not going to give up my values and my beliefs. And I've heard a lot of different things. I made my choice. So see if I can find PETA real quick. I did not want to ever have to edit these videos because it takes about maybe like a half hour or something, sometimes maybe longer. And if somebody's watching it, they can still watch the whole video. But if I put a video edit on it and I cut some things out of it, like time, duration, because I'm sitting there looking for what I'm talking about, um, then it'll pause. It won't play for people. So I don't want to lose um, any potential people that might listen to what I have to say. This is what it was. They said somebody's saying Donald Trump raped somebody. Here it is. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. All right, here it is. I found it, ladies and gentlemen. Good thing I didn't have to take too much time on that. And I could ramble. I'm a pretty good rambler. Alright. Peter becomes the hangman. Peter again. What does this say? It says, Radical Animal Rights Group PETA is again on the warpath calling for the death of Minnesota dentist who hunted and killed a lion named Cecil in Zimbabwe. Now, we were just talking about this, weren't we? Okay, Cecil, that's ironic. Cecil, who was a local favorite animal and a noted attraction on Zimbabwe safaris, was apparently killed by Dr. Welton Palmer of Bloomington, Minnesota earlier in July. PETA, however, once again placed the death of an animal over the life of a human, which was an accident. Sorry for adding that part, but anyways, I don't think if he knew all of the circumstances, I doubt he would have ever killed the thing. I'm not really trying to defend him like 100%. I'm just stating a fact. So they put a life over something that was an accident. And these guys, I'm upset with them too because a lot of them are trying to act like they know the Bible. They come out and they're preying on people who have rational Christian behavior thoughts. That is insanity, not insanity. The other sides, the Arab that are radical terrorist Muslims, atheists at times, not all of them, but the ones that come at you like they are satanic, pretty much, they are coming from what I think is an insane culture. They speak up and stand for insanity. Christianity stands for holding it together, sanity, watching out for your brother, healing people, bringing them along, bringing them together, and then everybody watch their backs. But we've got so far of it out of hand that now it's becoming like Greece or Rome or any other place from that built magnificent empires that became immoral and then wanted to make every excuse in the world on why being so shitty, pardon my language, I guess, but it's the truth, to your fellow human beings is okay, and you can take this girl in and take her in this room and you can bang her all you want, and that's okay. You don't have to answer to God or anything like that. We're turning a uplifted, upright society into a pagan one that was once strong, all because of its moral fabrics that held it together. So they want to rewrite history, not just the gospel. See that in here in the bottom right? PETA rewrites the gospel. Read that article. It's an interesting one. It really is. So hunting is a coward's pastime, said Ingrid. Now, see, I don't believe in hunting. I'm sorry to cut off on this story again, but I believe in hunting for food and stuff like that, and would have to have all of my tools and butcher equipment basically right on hand if I shot, say, like a deer or some kind of animal. And they're in their season too, so you have to know what season you can hunt these animals and not get worms and stuff. So anyway, so back to the story. Said it, Ingrid Newkirk, the president of PETA, to U.S. Weekly Magazine, if as has been reported, this dentist and has been reported. This dentist and his guides lured Cecil out of the park with food so as to shoot him on private property because shooting him in the park would have been illegal. He needs to be extradited, charged, and preferably preferably hanged. Wow, insane. There has been an onslaught of attacks against Palmer since Wednesday when Cecil's death hit the press. Zimbabwean officials claim that Cecil, the leader of his tribe, was lured out of a nature preserve when two professional guides tied a dead animal carcass to the back of a truck. Cecil was baited onto private land where he was shot and killed by Palmer, who allegedly paid $55,000 in order to hunt the famed lion. Both guides have been indicted in Zimbabwe on poaching charges and face 10 years in jail if found guilty. But Palmer tells a different story. While he doesn't deny or admit hunting Cecil, he claims that he had no knowledge he was doing anything illegal, and he was just following the advice of his two guides who were paid the $55,000 for their services, which would include securing a permit for Palmer to hunt a lion. So see, it wasn't just because they lured the animal onto private property; they still have have got poaching charges on him. But he's got there ain't no telling you could go to court with that. He's got a a hunting license. It would probably come down to the two guides. The two guides are probably the ones that are going to be in trouble there. Everything about this trip was legal and properly handled and conducted, Palmer explained in a letter that went out to his patients. I had no idea that the lion I took was a known local favorite or was collared in part of the study until the end of the hunt. Quote by Palmer. Wow, terrible. He added that he relied on the expertise of his local professional guides, who clearly led him astray by allowing him to shoot a lion illegally. So see, they're still saying that that lion there had some legal bearing over him. So he's still, even though he had a license, he's still considered in trouble and, like they said, could get up to 10 years. But it's not worth hanging somebody. Are you serious? You want to hang somebody for this? So it was the PETA president, PETA, right? The PETA president is is he angry at somebody? So he's angry having a bad day, and that's who he wants to declare he wants to have hung, right? So again, I deeply regret that my pursuit of an activity I love and practice responsibly and legally resulted in taking of this lion, Palmer included in his letter. That was never my intention. Well, I wouldn't think that it would be, especially whenever it would blow up in your face like this. But I don't know. We've seen we've seen people do pretty stupid things, but I don't know. So far, Palmer has seen his dental practice in a sleepy Minnesota suburb inundated with one-star online review as well as protests. He's also personally received thousands of death threats via social media, and despite his apology, PETA's president remains one of those death threats. Palmer has apparently not yet been contacted by U.S. or Zimbabwe officials. It's unknown whether or not he'll be indicted on poaching charges in Zimbabwe. And it's also not known whether the U.S. will extradite him to Zimbabwe to face those possible charges. Like, so that sounds pretty scary. But it's not worth the guy's death and to be making accusations like that to people. It could also hurt your case if there is anybody guilty and you start rambling like that. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna help you out at this point by going and saying, "Oh, hang the guy," and then everybody's like, "Okay," because it's a distraction to all of your people that you want something to happen to him. So I would have said I think maybe he should get 10 years. And if he had to serve 10 years in a Zimbabwe prison, they would make people think twice about going to another place and acting up. Or when people come here, that's why I'm so for protecting our borders and stopping people from coming in here illegally. If the liberals were serious about illegals coming here that obviously are being mistreated in their country. So, well, for whatever reason, their country went flipped upside down, okay, and on its head, and it mistreats innocent people or people who can't defend themselves. So they come here. Well, what do they think America is going to wind up being like? America is it's going to the wave of how those countries are, third world, is going to stream right into America, and we're all because people live however long they live, they have children, and then their children are going to inherit what's there, you know. So no matter what kind of money or this and that you're going to try to give our children here, you're giving them with politics and people like Obama. I don't mean to keep, seeming like I'm attacking the guy, but he really only came to do one thing, and that's to fundamentally change America, not for the better for us. It's to benefit somebody else in a road, or somebody rich, or thinks that they're imperfect when they're when there's a lot of things that make us all impure at this point, like ancient Babylon. I'm gonna research Babylon and everything people did in Babylon and why God flooded the planet and there was a great flood in Babylon. I know that I know it already pretty well. I know the gist of it, but I'd still like to go through that story again and compare it to what we have today. People just getting out of hand and just out of their minds. So, what do you want to call it? Mother Earth? Some people want to call it Mother Earth, right? How do they say that? Like spirit, like naturalist or whatever, believe in Mother Nature. There you go. So, how much of this ungodliness do you think Mother Nature is going to put up with people acting up, just going and they party or they do whatever they do, but they get it from everybody else, and everybody's all collectively in the same pot when it comes to irresponsibility. A lot of the times, unless you're in a pot of people who are responsible, who a lot of them have no other choice. They have to support 10 other people, 4 other people in their household with what they do in a day. So you have two different categories. You have the ones that um, do and those that don't. So all I can say is you're building up towards more that those that don't, and those that don't have to, one way or another, it's a fact, has to depend on those that do. They either get it from the government takes from those that do, or they live in those people's dwelling, their house, or wherever else. And it might not be mean, um, bad, but for whatever reason, they don't have a job, and they have to depend on somebody who does. That's just the way it is. So the people with jobs, there has to be with more practical sense here in America. So let's see, moving on. Let's see if I can. I'll take maybe some more news. Did you know that they were taking a taking this story right here, Citizens Action? That's where I get a lot of these articles from, but they were Supreme Court upholds American flag ban for Cinco de Mayo. Okay, if you think, if you want to, instead of continually abusing my flag, my American flag, why don't you just suggest to make that part of Mexico? Why don't you just make that part of Mexican territory? Then is that what you want? Do you want to go to war, Mexico? Do you want to go to war with us? People from Mexico, people here in America that want to have the Supreme Court, my Supreme Court, keep upholding, unconstitutional things against me because you have to scorn me to get your way these days with all these different fundamental things that you're throwing at us. So I want to know, do you want to go to war? Because that is what that means to me. That's what that suggests to me. If you talk to me like that, it don't mean peace. It don't mean that you like me. It don't mean that you like my flag. It don't mean that you like me. It means that you want to go to war with me. So all I can say is I got something to say to also the Black Panther, the new Black Panther leader. Says kill Whitey. Shut up. Shut your face. Shut up. Nobody wants to hear your racist, stupid, lousy, kill Whitey remark anymore. White people, they're Caucasian, are a lot of great people, probably way more great people that are white than not. They want to act like they have the right to attack white people or Caucasian people all the time. It's just absurd. It's absurd. White people are great. White people are right and upright, and they're blessed by God. So they're blessed for sure. So, anyways, ISIS just miles away. You're still miles away, ISIS. Right? It's been 4 months, 4 months, and you're still right there, ISIS. You're still there. It's been 4 months. You're right there, miles away from Texas. Really? So you're miles away from Texas. What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Does this mean war? Do you guys want to go to war? Boy, if I could tell you, I would want to link up with everybody who fishes, hunts, and can survive out in the wilderness. 'Cause it's time for people to have a different thinking in mind. I have not ever been the type to turn my other cheek. I'm a Christian. I've always been the kind where I look at everything like that, what Jesus said and what the Bible says, like that. There's a time to live a time to die, a time to laugh, a time to cry. That's how I look at all of that. And there's more time to fight. And I'm not going to not be patriotic and not support the troops. You know, go and support this. So here's what Obama does. This is what a lousy piece of garbage Obama is. So Obama comes in, he's right away he's attacking Guantanamo Bay. He doesn't believe what our troops are doing is right. He believes 9/11 was justified. Yeah, 9/11 was justified, but yet he'll tell you it was an inside job. It was a justified inside job. Okay, so that's one twist. So he's helping these fundamental radicals, helping all these other fundamental people. He's acting like they're a minority or something. So then they go after. I'm not trying to go after gay people. I'm trying to explain to them these people, ISIS and all of them, if they didn't know you was gay, they would kill you. And be like, oh, really? Come here. And those are Obama's friends. And then he just helped you out with the Supreme Court. Yeah, that doesn't make so much sense. Yeah, what's going on and what Fox reports is just, oh my goodness, they're on the ball. They deserve every dollar they get. All of them. They deserve CNN and MSNBC deserve the little tiny ratings that they get. They deserve little tiny nothing. Obama refrains from offending Muslims by moving Independence Day. Did you hear about that one too? Wow. Yeah, and then the deported people, he's basically gives them the right to murder U.S. citizens somehow legally. So then they get off and then they get released or returned back to Mexico and then they wind up back in America. Wow. Well, anyways, God bless America. This guy is ridiculous. That's what the liberals want. The liberals want in America. They want to destroy America. So either you vote, you vote for somebody, and I wish that everybody was registered Republican so that we could every American can pick out of those guys now which one that we wanted, and then we'll have to deal with who it is, and then we vote for the Republican. But we do our homework and we make sure that we don't just vote for some egghead just because he's saying, "Oh, we need hope, we need change," and he's lying to you. He's lying to you because he's talking about he needs it as a president, and the government needs it as liberals, Democrats in government for his hope and change. Not you, the voter. You, the voter, do not matter. You do not matter. You go, you go tell me an issue where he showed me where the majority of voters matter. The Supreme Court ruling against everybody who would have voted against gay marriage in this country. They wouldn't have voted for it. It's not 60% are in favor of that. A meager 2% would have voted in favor of it and would have showed up to try to get that voted for through the votes. So the Democrats knew that. So he just said, "Oh, we're going to do this. Watch. This is what the president's supposed to do. He's supposed to come in and take action and screw everybody who would have voted not for something to get that crammed in through the Supreme Court. And now they have gay marriage. I don't understand that. We said we were going to give them legal rights. Now I'm not even for their legal rights and them having legal rights because they are not an entity. Gay people are not something special. They are something pagan and demonic and wrong. And Anybody who knows what I'm talking about is true, they should have to cut ties with any church that says that it is, because it's not. It's blasphemy. Do you think God wants that? If God says your body is a holy vessel, a temple of God, do you want you to defile it like that, or do you think the devil wants you to defile it like that? And on two different sides, you've got people acting religious, you got non-religious acting people in favor of it. When you have true religious people that know the difference. So no, since they did that and they crammed that in there, I do not recognize it because it's unconstitutional and it is illegal. They just illegally did something that they're not there to ratify or to pass or to vote on. The Supreme Court. They just screwed us with Obama. Screw our votes. Screw our flags. Screw America. To those people, that's what they think. Well, God bless America. God bless America. And anybody who thinks otherwise, I don't care what you think really anymore. You guys have pushed to the point where you show where nobody else's opinion matters. You can't even come up with a compromise. So I really would like to help you pack your bags. You know those comments like, if you really got a problem with America, or you got a problem with straight marriage being only for a man and a woman, go somewhere where it's not, because you just illegally made that and infringed on everybody. And I will fight to no end to to cut the funds from that and to reverse that, because that's wrong. I'll get a vote. I'll get a vote, or some way I'll petition to have it changed, and it will change. It will. I had another point to make, but I'm getting a little bit irritated with the way that a lot of these people think America should be, or what America stands for, while you all stand against America for what it really is. I don't support your irrational pagan liberal thoughts that all basically boil down to you being, or everybody else that listens to you being insane and losing their brain and losing their responsibilities and not doing what they're supposed to do and not thinking positively and not for their own futures, but become dependent on society, on the government, and other people who are still responsible. I am ashamed. I'm ashamed of America. Never, ever in my life have I ever been so ashamed in my life. You put these troops out here in harm's way all over the world. You put people like Christopher Stevens in the middle of a scary scenario and then let him get killed. I'm appalled. I'm appalled. God bless America. In God we trust. God bless America.